Thanks to the supporters and channel member Stuart Chatterton. Oh, boys and girls, just wanted to start this episode off with a quick thank you to everybody who used my Football Manager discount code earlier in the year. As usual, we're using the money to upgrade the content around here, specifically this camera, and soon to be a second camera as well. But you might have noticed on previous videos, the focus occasionally isn't quite right. I was having to manually focus the camera because it didn't have a clean HDMI out. This one does. It's a revelation. So I now have autofocus again for the first time since back when I was using a webcam. And for those of you who watch my streams most afternoons, theoretically, it won't overheat and turn off midstream as well. So big bonus for the camera nerds amongst you. We've moved from a Canon 80D to a Canon EOS R. So that's quite the upgrade. Do I look even prettier than you ever imagined? You don't even need to answer that. I know I look prettier than you ever imagined. Hello and welcome to part 21 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have two games for you in the National League North. And since you were last with me, things have continued to be going really rather well. As you can see, we are on quite the winning run, quite the unbeaten run. The unbeaten run goes on even longer than the winning run. If we ignore the Gloucester game in the FA Cup, you have to go all the way back to Chorley since we last lost a game, all the way back in September. It's New Year's Eve as I'm recording this. It's not, but in game it is New Year's Eve 2033, 2023. Get the date right, Kev. That's twice you've messed it up. And we haven't lost since September. And we also haven't lost a home match at all since last season sometime. We had a statistic come up. It's been a long, long time. Watch us lose at home in this episode now. The last time we lost a game at home, and I do talk about making home a fortress, we haven't lost a game at home for nearly a year. Kidderminster on the 7th of January this year. So we've got a week to go before a year unbeaten at home. The York game will be 364 days unbeaten at home. Fingers crossed we can keep that running. This is what the league table looks like. 26 games gone. We are top of the league. 60 points on the board. Tamworth are the team who are pushing us close. They're only 1 point behind. And then there's quite the gap down to Kidderminster behind them. I think it's safe to say at this point, we're at the very least in the playoffs. We're 20 points clear of Chorley down in 8th place. So something has to go spectacularly wrong for us not to at least be involved in the playoffs. And I'd like to think, as we continue to get better and better, and dynamics continues to improve, I'd like to think we should be, I would think we're still favourites for winning the league. Let me just double check the media prediction. Are we still favourites to win the league? We are. So we're favourites to win the league. We're top of the league. Colvin has made it into the Dream 11. And also Livermore has made it into the Dream 11 as well. So a couple of our players starting to make it into the media Dream 11 as well, as the world wakes up and realises just how good we are. But we have lost a player. Sam Cornish has gone to our rivals Tamworth, £700. He hadn't really played for us this season, and you know we were a little bit over the wage budget. It says 10 appearances, but it's actually 0 starts this season. He was a key player last year. We'll probably feel quite hard done by that he's been moved on, and I imagine Tamworth will use him well, but we're still a little bit over our wage budget. We're starting to extend some contracts. Looking ahead to next season, we've even had to break our very strict budget limit of £300 for Livermore, who's just too good. I mean, he's too good. We couldn't not give him what he wanted because he's so much better than anyone else we've got at the club. From central midfield, 11 goal contributions in 17 starts, a 7.32. He is on another level. He's now here for another year as well. In fact, he's not here for another year. Hold the phone. We haven't even given him his new contract yet. How the hell is he on that amount of money? We must have had a clause in there that's put... I don't understand. That's past Kev's fault, but future Kev is giving him about that amount of money anyway. In fact, we can have a look to see what I'm offering him. We've actually convinced him to take a pay cut. Wonderful stuff. Well, that will be hopefully going through before the end of the episode. See? Financial management. Always right up there with the financial management. But I think we probably need to play a football match. This is the team that we're going to be putting out there for the game against Brackley. We've got Marshall in goal, a back four of Brown, Cullinan, Colvin and Lewis Brown, Mayer and Livermore in midfield, and then Andrucci, Thomas, and McAneff behind Adedoyin up front. I haven't fiddled. I've got into a good habit of doing my own bench this season, and it looks like right there I haven't actually done my bench. So we don't really have, but we have no midfielders. Chong can come up onto the bench. Very light on midfielders, but Mooney and Chong can come onto the bench. And let's get into the game. So get all of this submitted. Yes, we're lacking a little bit of match sharpness. What do you expect? As before, games are coming thick and fast as it seems to be the theme of life down at this level. You get these runs where you seem to be playing football in matches more often than you get to train. So I guess I'm no training expert, as you may or may not be aware, but I would suggest pre-season training, absolutely crucial. You don't get to change much in training as the season goes on. McAneff with the effort from the corner and then again from range, but he can't direct it past the goalkeeper. But that is the first chance of the game falling to us. We've started brightly. Brackley are actually the other team that was in consideration for being the starting team for Non-League Legend this year. So it's good to see them down in mid-table 3 seasons in. It doesn't look like that would have been an easier job. But I think Brackley are probably currently in pole position for starting team for FM23, unless Peterborough Sports get promoted, who last time I checked, and we talk about them quite regularly on stream, we check in on them. So we have checked quite recently. But Peterborough Sports are in tier 7 and are currently top of their league. This is being recorded before this weekend's results, so that is subject to change. But they're top of the league, looking good for promotion. So we could be starting with Peterborough Sports next year, which would be very exciting because their ground is about 5 or 6 miles away from my old house. I don't live there now. I am a little bit further away, but still closer to that than I would be to Brackley. So if you're a Brackley fan and you're desperate for me to start with Brackley next year, you want to start cheering on everyone who plays Peterborough Sports every week. Right, Brown on the left-hand side plays it to Andrucci. Andrucci to one of the other Browns. Many Browns involved today. And what a goal from Donnell Thomas. That is absolutely absurd what he's done there. I can't even wrap my head around what I've just seen. This is tier 6. Look at this. Thomas has really taken a step up and gotten better and better this year. You saw him in the last episode grab himself a couple of slightly cheesy goals from long throws that have padded his numbers a little bit, but there's no padding of the numbers going on there. That was just a moment of class from a player that is having a very good season. 7 goals, 8 goals now, 7 assists, a 7.56 average on 19 appearances. And he's actually out of contract. Is he out of contract with Colchester? He is. So it's a player that we might even be able to be in the running to sign permanently in the summer. Probably only if we get promoted. If we do manage to get promoted, you can be sure I will be trying to sign Donnell Thomas permanently. And in actual fact, there's a potential of bringing him in for free now. I don't know how much his wage would be. If we could get him to come to us on that kind of wage, I almost feel like it's worth making an offer to bring him in permanently mid-season just to make sure we get him before someone else hoovers him up once players are released in the summer, because he's done so well for us. He is a key man. I know there's been a lot of people in the comments saying you can't get a 4-2-3-1 working at this level. Attacking midfielders don't work in Football Manager, all that kind of stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, Donnell Thomas, he's working. He's been brilliant. Brown with the throw, looking for Adedoyin, and that is not doing my speech from the last episode any favours that we've done another long throw today. We can check the stats again at the end of the season to see just how many assists these fullbacks are getting. But I promise you, it's not happening as often as it seems to be in the videos. It's like, was it last season, or it might have even been in the first season, when people were saying, Kev, you're skipping, you're reloading games off camera. You only ever win off camera. What's that all about? And I had to put you all in your place and tell you that just because you're not seeing it, you don't know what's happening. You can't speculate on these things. And it is kind of a case of that. I think it's just a coincidence that it's happening so much on camera. Because like I say, I've not changed the throw-in tactic. The throw-in tactic has been on Steam since the day the game came out. We've had it loaded on this save all the way through, and it's only now that it's starting to work. I guess it ties back into what we were saying before about maybe we trained it a little bit more pre-season this time around. Not consciously, I didn't tell them to do that. But if we've maybe got a little bit better at doing it, or I guess some of these players have been here a year or more practicing it now. It could just be that we're finally clicking with some of these set pieces that just weren't working before. But as you can see there, our free kick delivery from Lewis Brown, lovely stuff. And Waltman is there to nod home his 8 for the season. We talked about him an episode or two back, being the answer for us on this inside left position. And you just see him do it again there. I mean, yes, it's from a set piece, but he's still cutting in off the left-hand side to do it. So I'm still counting that as an example of him being a very good inside forward on that left-hand side. Tamworth, it looks like, have dropped points. So I think we've just opened up a 3-point gap at the top of the table, ready for New Year's celebrations, and then the game against York, where we can make it over a year unbeaten at home if we survive against them, which would be absolutely super if we can work that out. What happened with Brackley? Not Brackley, we played Brackley. Tamworth, can't see them. They haven't played. That's why we've got a 4-point gap. They've got a game in hand on us now. Still, 4-point gap's a 4-point gap. I'd rather have the points than the games in hand. Before we get into the next match, we do have some important me news for you. I've signed my first ever 2-year contract at Leamington, and they've given me a slight pay rise again. So we started on £750 a week. We dropped down to £675 on the next contract, but now we've signed 2 years at £700. It's as far as I could push them, but we're on a 2-year contract, and they're putting me through another coaching license again. So I'm now studying for my Continental B license. So we're tied down for a little while. They're putting me through my coaching qualifications. My managerial profile is progressing beautifully. Look at that wonderful thing. I mean, that 1 for adaptability is going to be really handy if we get a job offer from abroad, for example. And I can't really train goalkeeper shop stopping. Can you imagine that? Ridiculous stuff. But I think we're probably settled in for a long time here. A few people have asked if I've started looking for jobs yet. As you know, we're in realism mode. And if I'm enjoying a job, I don't feel the need to look elsewhere. If someone comes in and offers me a job, then I'll consider it. But at the moment, I'm enjoying life at Leamington. I have no reason to want to leave. I'm settled in the area. I've just signed a new 2-year contract. We're looking good for promotion. I'm certainly not looking for a job. So I think as it stands at the moment, fingers crossed we get a promotion this year and then get to have a crack at the next division up next year. We're finally making some progress in non-league to legend this year. So this is our team for the game against York, which, if you remember, if we avoid defeat, we will then pass the 1-year mark for being undefeated at home. So it's Marshall in goal, a back four of Brown, Cullinan, Colvin and Rhodes, Smith and Livermore in midfield, Waltman, Thomas and McAneff behind, Andrucci up front. And we just need to avoid defeat. In fact, forget that. It would be nice to avoid defeat to keep the record going. But actually, we've been saying it all season long. We're at home in a league that we should be winning. So we should be winning today. We should win every home game. It's that attitude that's led us on this long unbeaten run. We didn't go this far because we were trying to defend leads at home. We did it because we decided we're better than everybody else and we should be winning all of our home games. So let's win another home game, shall we? York, no, they understand. They've got 5 men across the midfield and only 1 guy up front, completely alone and apparently getting nowhere near the ball. We've had 62% of the possession and York haven't had a shot yet, but we're 37 minutes in and this is the first time we've done anything that warrants a highlight. It's absolutely thundering down with rain as well. Livermore playing it out to Rhodes. Now McAneff is going to try and generate a chance from this right-hand side. Cross looking for Thomas. Thomas is there, but it just touches the top of the crossbar, maybe the top of the net. I thought he was going to be aiming at Waltman coming in off that left-hand side again, which is a proven route to goal. But the cross ended up a little bit short and a little bit deep. And as much as I was praising Thomas in the last game, he's not really a breaking into the penalty area and scoring with a header kind of guy. Watch him do that in this match now. We've just had the big Marshall goal kick, though. Not quite as effective from the ground as they are when he just dribbles it out the area a bit and then knocks it into the other penalty area. But it's still led to a chance, and Andrucci has his effort blocked. And I don't know if the goalkeeper would have had that covered, so it's led to a corner. And Thomas is going to look to swing this in, looking for Cullinan, and he finds him, and the set pieces are at it again. We are getting good at this. You can tell we're working hard. When we can, we're training it. It can't happen very often. We keep talking about the fact that we don't get to train very often. We only train twice a week. If we play multiple times in a week, we don't get to train multiple times in the week. So it is pretty hard to squeeze it in. But apparently we don't need many training sessions on set pieces for us to get quite good at doing them. And there's another example of it there. We're 1-0 up. York have finally had a shot, but they missed an XG of 0.08. If we end up throwing this away, I'll be quite cross. Right, Waltman can come off. Adedoyan can come on that left-hand side. Fitness levels are actually quite good today. We'll take off Smith and bring Mayer on in there. And you know what? Andrucci can come off for Kelsey Mooney. And we'll just get these boys having a little bit of a run around for the last 20 minutes or so. Mooney hasn't played a lot of football at all this year. I think he's probably going to be on his way out of the door this summer, along with a couple of these other players. I am starting to get an idea in my mind of who are the boys I want to build a squad around for next year. We've extended the contracts of Livermore and Colvin. I'd like to bring in Thomas permanently. We talked about him before. I still haven't yet made a decision on the striker because I don't know if any of these strikers are good enough to make the step up. But I think Marshall's probably going to be the next one to get a new contract because all the deals are up at the end of this season. We need to start extending these deals into next year for some of the better players so that we don't have dynamics problems in the summer again, because wouldn't it be bad if that happened? So we've won 6 straight. It doesn't say anything about our long home unbeaten run. But, I mean, I showed you it. You know there is one. And we've left leaving the episode 4 points clear at the top of the league. All is looking good. I think we're probably in cruise control for the rest of the season now. We'll probably come back around the Kidderminster game, maybe even for the Kidderminster game, if they're still a close rival at that point. I don't think we play Tamworth. We don't. So we'll probably come back for Kidderminster and one of those games either side of it, and then just finish the season off. Hopefully, finish the season off in 2 days' time and not have to worry about the playoffs. That would be the perfect outcome. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much for watching.